This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day. And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Tuesday morning. It's the 7th of April, 2026, and great to have you here with us as we come to you live from Brooks Robinson Plaza right here on the beautiful Wellspan Park, which is going to open up on April 21st with the Revs against Lancaster. I'm getting excited about the season. I'll be doing the opening night with Darrell Henry, by the way, and I'm also excited about that. I'm going to do about 15 to 20 games this year, I think, but with Darrell, and he's picking out those games, and mostly on weekends, because on weeknights, I'll tell you what, when you have to stay up really late and then get up early the next morning, I just, it's harder to do now, Mark. It really is.
I thought Darrell was retiring.
Yeah, right. April Fools. But anyway, all of this brought to you today by our presenting sponsors, Kindness Worldwide. What are you going to do to bring more kindness into your sphere of influence today? You can find them at kindnessworldwide.org. And, of course, the gold standard in representation here, law-wise, in York, Pennsylvania, Enstein and Sparler Attorneys of Law, in my opinion, 117 East Market Street right here in York, where they are ready to help you on all the main streets of York County with representation. And we're going to be talking with Andy Harold a little bit later on this morning about some of that here on the Gary Sutton Show. Our back nine text line is open at 833-478-4729. The back nine, where I'll be at about 11 o'clock today with a couple of my friends playing a little golf indoors because it's too cold outside today. You can go to theback9golf.com and check out summer packages there. Theback9golf.com/York-PA, where they have all kinds of great packages for you. You go indoors. Maybe it's way too hot. You just want to go in the air conditioning and play a little bit and watch a game or whatever. There you go. Theback9.com/York-PA. I have the same question up as from yesterday at Gary Sutton on Facebook, which is our ground zero for all the stuff that we post. I might post a couple pictures from last night. I stopped over at Hamir's last night, had dinner, and my wife and I had tikka tacos and fried rice, and it was oh boy, it was really good. And they have a drink there called the Old Monk Punch, which my wife's face turns red when she takes a couple sips of that. She is a lightweight, and it's a Old Monk Punch, has like Old Monk rum, I think, in it, and it happens to be one of my favorite drinks. It's an adult beverage, I understand, but I only drink one. I nurse it. I don't even get the whole thing done for the evening, but I got to tell you, it was so good last night. We had a nice time out, and Hamir's, of course, right up here in the middle of downtown York. Today is National Beer Day. I thought we had that a number of times. We look for reasons to have National Beer Day about every 2 months, don't we?
I think there's for the life of me, though, I can't remember exactly why, but I think there was some sort of event having to do with beer. And
man, we could drink a beer today.
So they just used that as an excuse to.
How about National No Housework Day, or as I like to call it, Tuesday? 8 days until taxes are due, 33 days to Mother's Day. And with that, we welcome in Mr. Bar McKenzie this morning.
Well, you left out International Pooper Scooper Day.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really glad.
Please pick it up.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't share. Yeah.
National Handmade Day.
Handmade Day.
You used to make wreaths handmade.
Yeah, I do. I still do occasionally, but not as much anymore. Although yesterday I was playing golf, and I hit a ball kind of near a tree, and I look over, man, there's a bunch of pine cones there, and they're beautiful, big pine cones. I was over at Grandview. Big pine cones. I thought, I ought to have a bag here. I gather these up for Christmas, and there's another whole wreath.
It's interesting is you were able to find in nature.
See that?
Yes.
Beauty. I was finding beauty and usefulness and recycling.
Yes.
You see, all that in one fell swoop.
It's National Making the First Move Day.
And then I hit a 6-iron. I'm sorry. Yeah. What were you saying?
And how did that go?
Yeah. Pretty well yesterday, actually.
Okay.
Pretty well, yeah.
National Making the First Move Day. It's always hard, for some men to make that first move.
Guys we're generally kind of clumsy with that. I think the first time we do that, and you're not quite sure.
Christopher Walken maybe has some tips.
Oh Lord, boy, we're in real trouble in that commercial. He is so weird.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
But he gives them the liquid fortitude.
Yes, he does
To be able
and
to.
then sits there and looks like. Like he does.
It's a World Health Day, and because of that, it's because the World Health Organization was founded on this date.
Right.
Have you heard about the latest version of COVID? Do you know what it's called?
I don't know what it's called, but I've heard about it. Yes.
Yes, cicada.
Cicada?
Cicada.
What a great
Apparently
name.
it is. And it's kind of interesting because most of us have had, at least one version
Right.
of COVID. And the scientists think that because of that, there is some immunity to the weaker versions, and not that cicada is a serious one, but it's going after those that don't have any kind of immunity.
Oh, interesting.
And it's children.
Oh,
And of course, children.
they've been kind of off bounds on that for.
But then you have schools and daycare, so it gets spread pretty easily.
Much faster.
So cicada is going around with
That's
the kids
interesting.
these days. Now, it is also Fruit Holiday, aside from National Beer Day,
Right.
Coffee Cake Day.
I had a coffee cake muffin yesterday. Yeah, and it was really messy. It
What do you
bothered me.
mean?
It was pretty good. Well, it
How's
just
it
fell
messy?
apart all over the place, and all the little stuff on top was fun. It annoyed me.
Yeah.
It annoyed. I was over here eating it, by the way, early before the show started, and I was very annoyed. It was good. The problem was, on one hand, it was really good. On the other side, it was falling apart, and I'm going, wait a second. This is impeding my enjoyment.
You could have crushed it together.
I could have, but I decided not to do so.
My mother makes a great coffee cake, but you probably knew that already.
I was going to say, what does your mom make? And but no, go ahead.
So let's check the calendar. On this date, many, many interesting things have happened. So this one's going to be long.
Okay.
But it's interesting that it was on this date in the year 30.
30. Okay.
In the year 30, scholars estimated that the crucifixion of Jesus by Roman troops in Jerusalem happened on either April 7th or April 3rd.
Okay.
So either today or a couple of days ago. Anyway, moving on, because, of course, last week, what was it?
I wonder how they figured that out, though.
Yeah, I'm just reporting. I didn't.
But I'm just saying I'd be interested in
Yes,
seeing
absolutely.
what not that you had a chance to, but what
Yes.
went into that kind of archaeological
Yes.
deciding, if
Yes,
you will. Yes.
I agree.
Right.
On this date, 5/29, a very important date, although you wouldn't think so when I spit these words out. First draft of Corpus Juris Civilis was issued by the Eastern Roman Emperor Justinian I. It was also called the Justinian Code, but
Right.
it was well after the end of the Roman Empire. So, but Rome they did many good things with the Roman Empire, including laws. And a lot of the laws that we have, the basis is
from Rome.
Yes, and they characterized it and codified it into an update called the Justinian Code. So that happened on this
power
day.
of Rome.
Yes.
A little Kirk Douglas there.
On
Like
this,
that?
yeah.
All the power of Rome.
Yes. 1795, on this date, France adopted the meter as the basic measure of length. So they've had that for a long time. Exactly how long is a meter?
I'm not sure.
3.2 feet.
I think they did it just to spite us.
Is that
I really
right?
do. I think that's right.
Well, we were
And I'm
barely
sticking by it, yeah.
we were barely around.
I know.
1827, on this date, English chemist John Walker sells the world's first friction matches.
Oh, okay.
Somebody had to come up with it.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Do you ever have problems doing a match? Getting a match going.
It depends.
Yeah.
I've always liked the ones where you didn't need the special book of matches. Like you could just scrape it on a wall and it would fire up.
I like the ones that the wooden ones in the box. That's always been my favorite. I did this. You feel like there's something to it, and it takes a while before your fingers burn.
The interesting things continue on this date in 1853. Queen Victoria asked this guy, and I'm going to save his name for a second, this particular guy, to administer chloroform during the delivery of her 8th child. And when word got out about it, people started to find it acceptable because the Queen did it.
Her 8th child.
Her 8th child, right. But so what was this guy's name? Jon Snow.
Oh, like in the
Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yes. It's not the Jon Snow.
Right.
But Jon Snow, you know nothing. Moving on. 1891, Nebraska introduced the 8-hour workday.
Wow, 1891.
So think about that as you work another 8. Not much has changed.
And they probably were coming backward on that, not forward, because most people work more than 8 hours a day at that particular point in time.
Amen. Yeah. Yes. On this date, 1927, the first long-distance television transmission. It went from Washington, D.C. to New York City. Was done by AT&T. I think it was an image of the president.
I thought it was Meet the Press.
At the time. Yeah, really?
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I just thought
It is the longest running television show, is it
Yes,
not?
yes. Mm-hmm. On this date in 1943, I just thought I'd throw this in. The NFL adopted helmets. They made them mandatory.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Most of it, a lot of people didn't know who they were about. You have to get done with their NFL career. Yeah.
You know, before that, you didn't have to wear a helmet.
Imagine that.
Yeah, really.
Oh, geez.
Who would play that game?
And the ones they had later on, those leather
Yes.
they didn't do a whole lot of good.
None.
So it's like, let's get something that's going to take care of our skull inside here while we're getting knocked around.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
On this date in 1954, President Eisenhower is the first to voice this term, talking about communism in the Indochina region, and that term is?
Iron Curtain.
Close. That was Churchill. But this one, he voiced this fear of the domino.
Oh, the domino effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was the first to do that on this date.
Yeah, I should have thought about that. I had the Iron Curtain all ready for anything.
I understand.
It's kind of like your Calvin Coolidge.
It was around the
response.
it was around the same time. So, but you know, of course, and that we all know how that worked out.
Right.
1966 on this date, the U.S. recovered something from the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. And you know what it was? It was a lost hydrogen bomb.
I was going to say, I knew it had to do with like a weapon.
Hey, I think we're missing a hydrogen bomb.
Anybody missing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we dropped that a couple years ago.
Unbelievable. Anyway, on this date...
Things you don't want to lose.
Really?
Yeah.
1968, on this date, something if you're a fan of the Goodfellas movie.
Oh, yeah.
Gangsters Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, and Tommy DeSimone, played by Robert De Niro, commit the Air France robbery. So they stole $420,000 from a cargo terminal at LaGuardia Airports, I think at that point, international airport. So, or was it JFK then?
No, it was probably LaGuardia.
Okay. Because I think that's what they said. Oh, or was it Idlewild? Idlewild. Anyway, moving on. On this date, 1994, it was the beginning of the Rwandan genocide.
Oh, yeah.
The Presidential Guard began killing moderate politicians and public figures, including the Prime Minister. Eventually, how many died? 800,000.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It is a lot. On this date, 2003, U.S. troops captured Baghdad. Because we'd started the war in March.
Right.
And then finally, on this date in 2024, Larry David's TV show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, ended after a dozen seasons. And frankly, you know, they ran a marathon the other couple of days ago on HBO, and I watched a couple of episodes, and you know, he's almost exactly like Lucy. Just irritating.
Yeah.
Just irritating beyond. You know, there's reasonable people, and then there's Larry David.
Well, Larry David's one of those guys you could take for a moment. He does a little thing, and then you say, okay, time to go.
Well, I have friends that will say things, you know, or do things similar to that, but we don't build a show around it, and it just exasperating.
So are you over it yet? I mean, that's a big question.
I'm telling you, I didn't know it was going to affect me that way.
Huh. Well, remember the story yesterday we had about the child that crawled under the fence
Yes,
to America and the wolf
Yes.
Came at it? Well, we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. We have an update on that story this morning and much more, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:19. When you hear this beginning to a music song like this, you always know it's almost always Hall notes. You wouldn't have to know it's Hall notes to know it's Hall notes. I can go for that, yeah. I like how it builds, though. Here we go, ready? Add a few. Here we go. Always good anticipatory kind of stuff here. Here, add a little bit more now. Come on.
Later. Anyway, long intro.
It is.
But it is because it's one of their birthdays. Which one do you think?
Probably the one that didn't talk.
That's right. Well, he actually did sing. I mean, he sang
Backup.
Yes, backup and harmonies and that kind of thing. That's Daryl Hall.
Right.
But today's birthday, it's John Oates.
Right.
And he is 78 years old today. So
They had kind of a nasty breakup, didn't they?
yeah, it's
a shame.
It is. It's sad to see, especially after working so long together and creating so much.
They were from suburban Philadelphia area, down near. I'm trying to think. I want to say. I want to say like Lower Marion and that area right there. But they were well known in Philadelphia for a long time before they became national stars and then international stars. So
We're going to do Hall
good.
& Oates all day today.
we like Hall & Oates.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, we were.
Oh, there's more birthdays.
you had some birthdays.
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we got quite a few. Russell Crowe, 62 years old.
I saw him the other day in a movie, a relatively new movie called Nuremberg.
Yes.
And he played the part of Hermann Goering.
Yeah.
And I watched this guy and I said, I know that guy. It was a really fat.
Russell Crowe?
Yeah, Russell Crowe. I mean, really fat Russell Crowe. I couldn't. But I saw
How
him.
long was it? Do you remember?
It was about 2 hours. It wasn't
Okay.
terribly long. And the guy that played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody,
Rami?
what's his name?
Yes, his name.
I can't think of it, but he played the part of this reporter or this psychologist who's breaking Goering down, and he's
Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. Yeah, Rami Malek. But it was a good movie, but it was I tell you what, I couldn't believe that was Russell Crowe. I just couldn't. He's that big.
For what it's worth, I actually saw the last half of the first Nuremberg.
The Trial of Nuremberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that had the silver-haired actor. It was
Spencer Tracy.
Spencer Tracy was the judge.
Yep.
And he's being talked to by the American side. He is being talked to by the German defense attorney. And a very interesting movie because you would think that it's very easy to judge. That was the main thing was, of course, the Nazis are guilty.
Right.
But what about like the judge who wasn't a Nazi or,
Right.
that kind of thing. And that one of the judges in particular in the movie, Burt Lancaster, admits that he did ignore the truth. Just to make the Nazis happy. And,
Yanni was his last name, I think.
yeah, it was a hard thing to, you realized that, the Nazis, there was lots of evidence, but what about these guys? It was more nuanced, and that movie was like over 3 hours long. Other birthdays today, Christopher Darden, remember him?
Yes.
In the prosecution in the O.J. trial?
Yep.
He is 70. One of the world's biggest movie stars. We don't hear much from him these days, but Jackie Chan is 72. This guy is a Hall of Famer in the NFL. He's also 72. And notice, before I mention this guy's name, I'm going to say that a guy that you and I know, Todd, played with this guy at Pitt. And Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett.
72.
Right.
Francis Ford Coppola, 87 today. And
Ooh.
you got to hold him up with two great films, Apocalypse Now and The Godfathers. Well,
One
the Godfather
and two.
series. Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, Jerry Brown, the former governor of California, 88 today.
Wow. I mean, that's quite the group right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was Ernst Janning was the name of the character there that Burt Lancaster played,
judge.
just because we can't, let those kind of things go, and nor would we. No, I'm serious.
It's it's hard to watch. I thought, God, how can you watch, people just talking in a courtroom? And they did break it up a little bit, but I thought it was pretty compelling. And the performances were really good.
Here's the story we were working on yesterday. The parents of a toddler who was injured after sticking his hand into a wolf enclosure. What could ever go wrong there?
Yeah, really.
At Zoo America North American Wildlife Park in Hershey, has been charged with, or have been charged with child endangerment, authorities said. Good. I'm glad. This idea that we take our kids out and share them with others and let them go and don't worry about them. The Derry Township Police Department said it is investigating the incident that occurred on Saturday, this past Saturday at 11:35 at Zoo America in Hershey. During the incident, police said an unsupervised 17-month-old child had squeezed through a small opening in a wooden barrier perimeter fence and accessed a restricted area near the wolf exhibit. According to police, the child then reached the primary metal fence enclosure and was injured after putting his hand through the metal fencing. Now, I'm looking at a picture of the wolf here, and it ain't that good looking. I mean, I'm just telling you. He probably saw the child and thought lunch. But Zoo America previously reported the toddler's age is 18 months old. Not so. It was 17. From the injury sustained, it appears as though one of the wolves in the enclosure instinctively and naturally grabbed onto the child's hand with its mouth. I love how they say this. Several bystanders intervened and helped pull the child away. Where were the parents? I mean, several bystanders pulled the child away.
So there's still no
sign of the parents. Yeah. Following a preliminary investigation and consulting with the Dauphin County District Attorney's Office, police said the toddler's parents, identified as Carrie Sorter, 43, and Stephen Wilson, 61, were each charged with endangering the welfare of children. Okay. Investigators reviewed evidence that showed both Sorter and Wilson walked about 25 to 30 feet away from their child to a seating area with benches and appeared to be on their phones while the toddler was near the wolf exhibit, according to police. There we go again. Little distraction.
You know,
right?
I wondered if they had like an air tag on the child, and it would have said, would have beeped their phone to say, toddler in wolf cage.
Well, the Derry Township Police Chief Garth Warner said that there are signs that advise parents to attend to their children and so forth. Obviously, they did not follow those instructions, and investigators are asking anyone who witnessed the incident help the child. Has video of the incident or has additional information to contact the Derry Township Police Department. So they're seeking more information on this. Spokesperson for Hershey Entertainment Resorts previously confirmed to USA Today that the toddler had crawled under an exterior perimeter fence before he approached the primary metal enclosure of the wolf habitat and put his hand through the fence. A wolf approached and made contact with the child's hand. Now, nowhere in here, in the story, it's rather interesting, did they say he bit them. It just says he made contact with.
Yeah, the other phrase was wolf-like behavior.
Yeah, wolf-like behavior. Now, what is wolf-like behavior? Anyone remember Red Riding Hood? Come on, let's go. This type of response is consistent with natural animal behavior and was not a sign of aggression.
Right.
So did he bite him or not? So I've never seen more talking around something. Did he bite the kid's hand? Did he lick him? Did he, what did he do?
Well, it said minor.
Apparently he hurt him as minor, so maybe he's just giving a little love nudge or a little love bite or whatever. I don't know. But it annoys me that they went out of their way here to talk that way because I just don't understand. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. I Need a Moment on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Okay, everyone get ready. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer, and one of those bottles should have to fall. There'll be 98 bottles of beer on the wall, 98 bottles of beer on the wall, 98 bottles of beer.
Oh, yes. Good old days. Remember that? We used to sing it on field trips and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we thought it was pretty cool. And you look at it now, it's like one of the great annoyances of all time.
Well, wait a second. You wanted to know why it was National Beer Day. And it's because, remember I said it, I couldn't remember what it was, and I found it. The Cullen-Harrison Act went into effect on this date in 1933
right.
in America, which legalized the sale of low-alcohol beer.
And then we had the 21st Amendment, right, to
Yes.
wipe. The only amendment that we have that took out another amendment. You know that? The 21st took out the 18th, which is kind of interesting.
I don't know the date when that happened, though.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of that either. I was reading an interesting story this morning. The crew of NASA's Artemis II mission has officially ventured further into space. Dun, 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 I'm sorry. Further into space than any humans before, zooming more than 248,655 miles from Earth in its historic voyage around the far side of the moon. And the distance record was set just before 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, surpassed the milestone set by Apollo 13 in 1970. During that mission, an oxygen tank explosion prompted the astronauts, who consisted of Tom Hanks and
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, they played the parts of Apollo 13, but prompted the astronauts to ditch their landing plans and slingshot themselves around the moon before arriving back home. I mean, when you see that movie, you think, man, we had some pretty brilliant people aboard there and some pretty brilliant people back in Houston and Florida who saved these guys' lives. But on April 15th, 3 explorers set the record for the farthest distance humans have ever.
Well, it's today.
That
was it. Was it yesterday?
Why do they say on April 15th?
I don't know.
It's weird because it's not.
No, it's today.
Yeah, it's today.
Or what was it? Or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday at 2 p.m. Yeah.
There we go.
So the spacecraft will be closest to the moon and farthest from home about 7 p.m. today, when Artemis II will set yet another record for human travelers, which is 252,760 miles from Earth. So they have all these records they have going on now. Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen.
He's the Canadian?
Yeah. Jerry Hansen's a Canadian. He's the one that says a boat. All the time.
A boat.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting about the first moon mission was that scientists weren't 100% sure that there was anything solid on the moon.
Yep.
They knew it was covered with dust, but they weren't sure that if they went to try to land.
Remember that first step on the moon was not exactly a leap off the ladder. It was like, one small step for a man.
That's it.
Okay, it's all right. One giant leap for mankind.
They could have jumped into it, where they could have tried to land, and it wouldn't do it because it was just dust. So something to think about when, the risks that these people are taking.
There was something interesting. Yesterday morning, all the astronauts woke up to a message that had been recorded by Apollo 13 Commander Jim Lovell before his death last year.
No kidding.
And this was the message. Welcome to my old neighborhood. It's a historic day, and I know how busy you'll be, but don't forget to enjoy the view, quote unquote. And that was Jim Lovell before he passed away last year. That was the part played by Tom Hanks in Apollo 13. By the way, I have to tell you, I was flying back from California. And the in-flight movie was Apollo 13.
Oh,
you talk about bad taste. I mean, you're flying, and here's the Apollo 13 movie. You're wanting, and of course, then it ends up being like a rocky flight home. We got a lot of storms, and I'm going like, geez, I'm like Jim Lovell.
Where's the duct tape?
Where's the duct tape? All that, but. It's really interesting, this whole Artemis II mission, because Monday's milestone marks the start of Artemis II's crucial lunar observation period, when the crew will document a celestial landscape that no human has ever seen. And the Apollo missions...
The backside.
Exactly, the backside of the moon, yeah. When they're out of contact, by the way, with the Earth. But the Apollo missions were orchestrated so astronauts could arrive at the moon, when its near side was facing the sun, giving them plenty of light for landings. But Artemis 2's lunar flyby will occur when the far side is illuminated, giving the crew a glimpse of craters, mountains, and other features that were too dark or difficult to see during the Apollo era.
Did you see the picture that they took?
I did. Was that amazing? Of Earth?
Yeah. Well, no, of the dark side.
Oh, the dark side. You saw those.
It was so detailed. Of course, the cameras are better now too. So
yeah,
very detailed. It was incredible.
I'm looking at a couple of them right here, and yeah, it's really neat to see all this.
Yep.
But it goes back to another era. We had gotten away from space travel for a while, and here we are back now talking about going to the moon, maybe setting up a colony there and using that to jet out of space to Mars. Would I go? No. No.
Well, how about if they offered us, would you like to broadcast the show from there?
Some people think we're broadcasting it from there now. No, I would not. I have to be honest with you.
Oh, that's right. Heights. You're afraid of heights.
Well, no, not even that. I'm just not. I'm afraid of death is what I'm afraid of. But no, I'm not. But no, I don't have any interest at all in going somewhere else. I just don't.
Especially the seat's got to be really small.
Right. I have thoughts about people I'd like to send there, but I don't have any.
To the moon, Alice.
Yeah,
that was a last week of when the liftoff happened. That was a cartoon,
right?
Political cartoon, I guess, that was on the moon, and it's like, oh, look who we found,
right.
Alice, and only people that would remember, the honeymooners would remember.
Well. Meanwhile, the president is threatening to bomb bridges and power structures in Iran, and the deadline is approaching. I think it's 8 p.m. tonight. And the president says, we're going to bomb those. And a lot of people are saying, is that an act of beyond war, so to speak? And so he wants to reopen the Strait of, he said he wants Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face the massive bombing of the country's infrastructure. Iran said on Tuesday they urged youths to form human chains around power plants, and its president said 14 million people had answered calls to volunteer to fight. President Trump has threatened to bomb all of Iran's power plants and bridges if Iran does not meet his Tuesday 8 p.m. EDT deadline, that's Eastern Daylight Time, to allow shipping traffic to fully resume through the strategic waterway, the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world's oil transits in peacetime. Quote, the entire country can be taken out in one night, Trump said. President Trump has repeatedly extended previous deadlines, but suggested this one was final, saying he'd already given Iran enough extra time, quote unquote. And, people have been asking him the question, is this, an act of a war crime? Would this be a war crime? The president says, I don't think so. So we'll see, what happens tonight.
What about I mean, it's one thing for him to, order these things, but when you're talking like that,
right?
And so what's to stop Iran from putting children on all the bridges, or just people in general? I mean, if your goal is to get them to the table, you're kind of. You know what I mean? It's a negotiation, sort of.
Well, I think a lot of times, though, one of the things we've seen, too, and that's a great question. One of the things we see is negotiating behind the scene while blustering out in the front. We see that from politicians a lot over the years. However, I would agree. I don't know that it really helps the situation right now to say we're going to bomb you back to the Stone Age and all that cowboy stuff that we seem to like to use sometimes. In early spot trading, Brent crude, the international standard, was above $111 per barrel now, up more than 50% since the start of the war. And under growing pressure at home, it says in this article by the AP, consumers are feeling the pinch. President Trump has demanded that Iran open the Strait of Hormuz to all shipping traffic or see power plants and bridges wiped out, which we said. We'll see. Is it a war crime to take out your infrastructure in a country you've already attacked? I mean, I don't know.
According to the Geneva Convention, it is.
It's not supposed to be done.
And as far as the oil, check this out. Yesterday was such a nice day. I thought I would get an early start on spreading some mulch. So there's a particular place I go for that, and and there's a gas station that has probably the lowest prices. that I see around the area. And so when I first drove by it, I happened to notice it was $3.99.9. And I thought, wow, well, most places were over $4. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to stop and get some gas. So I got a load of the mulch, went home, unloaded that, and then I realized I needed a little bit more. So I went back to get it. So we're talking maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes. The price on the sign was $4.29.9.
Wow.
Yes, in the space in less than an hour, it went from $3.99.9 to $4.29.9.
And by the way, last night, if you were, went to bed early, Michigan is the new NCAA collegiate champion for the men. We had UCLA for the women a couple days ago. It was
So UConn lost both games.
Despite the fact that Michigan went 0 for 10 in the first half from the three-point line. They could not make anything. But they still were able to bring home the championship. 5 transfers for Michigan. Made up Dusty May's starting lineup. 5 transfers. So there, you want to talk about the new age with the portals and all that? There you go.
Wow. So did you watch the game at all?
I didn't. It was just too late, and I just couldn't stay up for that.
Yeah.
But I kind of had a feeling Michigan's really good. And they were number one most of the year. Then Duke took over. Duke beat them in a game during the regular season, and then they took over, and they came out with a 69-63 win over UConn last night, who was trying to win their third in 4 years. But Michigan,
it was competitive, right? I mean, it wasn't like the finale on Sunday with the women,
right,
where it was like a 20 plus point.
Oh, it was 25, 26 point game, yeah. But it was now. What was interesting is Michigan had scored 90 points in 5 straight March Madness games, leading to the final 9-point lead last night, and then they eventually won by 6. But they only scored 69 points. And it was
interesting.
Yeah, so it was a good game, I guess. They fought right to the end. UConn's Alex Karabin had a shot on a 3 toward the end there that would have cut the deficit to 1 with 17 seconds to go, but he barely grazed the rim with that. So, and finally, McKinney sank 2 free throws to bring Michigan's shooting from the line to 25 of 28 last night for the free throw line. 25 to 28, only missed 3 free throws all night long. So Dusty May and Michigan, hail to the victors. They are the champions for 2026 in college basketball.
So if they could get more transfers, so if a team could get more transfers, it behooves the transfers to know how many other transfers you have?
Well, and then, but here's the thing that Dusty May did. He got them all to play together, and that's the key. You get these transfers, that's one thing, but getting the transfers to play together is a whole nother thing. So this is a new thing now. In the era of portals and transfers and NIL and all the stuff you hear about all the time, that can you buy up a team for next year that might win a national championship? Well, Michigan kind of did. And it remains to be seen where that's going to go in the future. But I mentioned yesterday that most of the teams that win the NCAA championship are teams that stick together for a period of time. And maybe that, too, is a change in now as we move forward. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more news here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's a Tuesday morning.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Yeah, we were just having a little offline chat there. Oh,
John
love
Oates'
this song.
John Oates' birthday today, 78. He is the short, dark-haired one.
What was it about them that was so good? Yeah,
Well,
Hall and Oates.
you know,
They had a certain style.
They called it Blue-Eyed Soul.
Yeah.
And it was like a Philly sound, but it also had, it was an interesting mix between the white guy, if you will, Daryl Hall's vocals, and then the Blue-Eyed Soul part.
Yeah.
And it was a good mix, and they were pretty good songwriters, and they had a good eye for talent. What I find interesting, being in music radio back then, was that they had other songs that didn't, that weren't in the, the top 5.
Right.
But they were still, pretty well-known songs, or at least when I hear them, I think, I heard one the other day, Did It in a Minute, which is a song that I think was a top 10 record, but you never hear that record.
No.
There's a few others that you rarely hear, even though they are in that mode for Hall & Oates music, and people love the big hits that we play all the time. But
I always love when someone creates a different, unique sound that they just did, and it has all those parts that you so well
I don't know
describe. Yeah, I mean, I really do. And their music, and they understood what worked, because they kind of had a little bit of that same style in every single song. So you knew exactly it was Hall & Oates coming at you.
Yes, it was different from Billy Joel. Billy Joel, it was just him that he was relying on, so he changed almost everything.
And every now and then you'd say, was that Billy Joel?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hall & Oates, you always kind of
It was Hall & Oates.
Yes,
that's exactly right.
Good point.
I saw Savannah Guthrie went back to work yesterday, and
she said something like "Good to be home."
Yeah, NBC's Today Show anchor desk on Monday. First time in more than 2 months since her mother's disappearance. Here we go, ready or not, Guthrie said as the show opened, let's do the news. And after running through a series of news headlines, Guthrie said that, quote, "We are so glad that you started our week with us, and it's good to be home," unquote. Her co-host Craig Melvin said, "It's good to have you back at home," which you would have expected them to say.
Here's the thing, though. I saw a headline, and forgive me, I did not. I don't know where I saw the headline.
Right.
It's certain not to be true, but it said, and this is what we're moving into the Elvis.
Oh, no.
Is still alive kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the headline was like Savannah Guthrie's mom seen in Mexico. Yes. Oh, you saw it too. So
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it.
And it's like,
I've not sourced it out.
Here we go. It's, next thing you know, it's going to be her and Elvis.
Yeah. Sightings of Mexico. Yes. They think that the abductor may have taken her to Mexico. I've heard that in a couple different, and I don't know how they came up with that.
Right.
I don't know what would have given them reason. I mean, this investigation has not been maybe, and maybe this is being unfair, has not been maybe the most exhaustive investigation that we've ever seen. It doesn't seem like that. But again, I'm saying that very carefully. It doesn't seem like that. It might have been much better.
You expect them to keep some things secret.
Right.
I mean, we've all seen enough shows to know that they're always holding something back so that they can use it to identify a potential suspect, and they don't want everybody to know everything. But this seems a little haphazard and.
Well, and yesterday it was interesting. Guthrie said it's hard to go forward not knowing what happened to her mother. And the nation it's kind of moved to the back burner as a story, but it's still there. And people are saying the moment that something comes out about Nancy Guthrie, that would move to the front page again, because we always are interested in what happens in missing person cases like this.
See, I have a story that when I saw it, I thought, geez, I didn't hear anything about this. Maybe sometimes I feel like I'm not paying close enough attention, but let's see if you've heard this story, and it is in Pennsylvania.
A pair of volunteer firefighters from Walnut Town, Pennsylvania in Berks County were killed Saturday in a traffic crash. Chief Jeffrey Buck and Assistant Chief Robert Schick Jr. were participating in a search for a missing woman. They were riding in a side-by-side utility vehicle when a Toyota Camry collided with them head-on. Both men were rushed to hospitals where they died from their injuries. The driver of the Camry is now suspected of being intoxicated and could be facing vehicular homicide charges, among other things. The missing woman at the center of the firefighters' search has since been located. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're looking to get a new penthouse or a new place to live, Sierra Towers is perched above Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. It's one of the most mythologized residential buildings in Los Angeles, completed in the mid-1960s. It has been home to many of Hollywood's elite, including figures like Sidney Poitier, Joan Collins, as well as celebrities like Sandra Bullock, Courtney Cox, and Katy Perry. Now the penthouse on that building is coming on the market for, are you ready for this? What a steal. $39.5 million.
Wow.
$39.5 million. This is a penthouse. This is a top apartment. A potentially record-breaking sum for L.A. The sellers are Dan Fishel and Sylvia Neal, a pair of Chicago-based philanthropists, I would think so. They bought the apartment in 2021, paying just $17.5 million, and have invested many, many millions of dollars into finishing it.
Does it say how big it is?
Roughly 7,400 square feet.
Wow, that's pretty big.
3-bedroom apartment, hasn't been lived in since it was completed earlier this year. Official said it has open living and dining spaces anchored by a dramatic stone fireplace, a large kitchen with custom oak cabinetry, a breakfast bar, as well as a gym and media room, said listing agent Linda May of Carrollwood Estates. I mean, this thing, you're looking out all kinds of corners of this place. You're looking out all over Los Angeles. It's pretty cool.
So one quick fact to joggle your brain. Is that a word, joggle?
Well, it is now.
People who work in offices without windows sleep an average of 46 minutes less per night than people who work in offices with windows.
I thought you were going to say people who live in offices without windows shouldn't throw bricks because they'll hit people down below.
Well, you could say that.
You could
too.
say that, but we didn't. We have the good discipline not to. I think. James Sanders is up next at 7:05. He's our business blogger. Gen Z employees can't bear the 9-to-5 grind, so what are they doing? Well, they're using their lunch hours for something else. What is that? James is going to tell us all about it next at 7:05 on the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK, where it is a Tuesday morning. Glad to be with you on the main street of York County. It is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day. And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
It's usually a few minutes before I say that in the morning. I have to get up and go, am I? I think. Yeah, then you kind of wander and shuffle. You ever notice how you shuffle over to the bathroom before you actually start walking again?
I run.
Oh, I'm telling you what. It just yeah. I wish that were the case. It may have been in an earlier time in my life. Not now. It's like, oh my gosh. And then you get going and you're okay. And hope you're getting going here on a Tuesday morning. This is the Gary Sutton Show coming to you live from Brooks Robinson Plaza here at Wellspan Park, home of the York Revolution, the two-time, actually four-time, but 2 times in a row, defending champion, looking to, if you heard Daryl yesterday, he said he's going out on a limb. They might be better at the beginning of this year than they were last year. And, of course, the big deal is that you know they're going to pluck players up throughout the course of the season. Things change always. That's the one unnerving thing about a season in the Atlantic League. But it's fun to see how Rick Forney does such a great job of patching these spots in during the course of the year.
If you go, if you look in the ante room here,
right,
where they take some pictures, I think you'll see they've got a setup in there for a multiple signings today. So.
Well, they have players who are coming in now, and all the various players. And Daryl says there's going to be 12 new ones today and Thursday. 6 today, and that'll be on tonight at 6 o'clock, I believe, on the show, the hot stove. Show that he has with Rick Forney, and then again on Thursday. So 12 new players, and he said there's going to be some real surprises in there, and a few players coming back.
All right, I might as well just say
We're good.
I'm going to be.
That's it, huh? You've had it. No, that's nasty.
I'll be warming the bench.
Anyway, our show being brought to you by Anstad and Sparlow Attorneys at Law, located at 117 East Market Street, right here in York, and also Kindness Worldwide at kindnessworldwide.org. What are you going to do to make your place a kinder place today? And, of course, our Back Nine text line, 833-478-4729, the Back Nine, the premier golf installation right here in York County. I'll be out there today from 11 to 1 because it's too cold to go outside and play right now. And so I can go inside. So if it's too cold or too hot, you got a nice air-conditioned, temperature-controlled place. You can go in and play any course in the world and have a great time. And find out about the summer packages they have at the Back Nine by going to the back9york.com/York, the back9.com/York-PA. There you go. The back9.com/York-PA. Don't forget to check out Facebook at Gary Sutton Show, which is our ground zero, if you will, for all of our various things that we do. Also Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can pull up our podcast on YouTube each day after the show at WOYK. Someone wrote me on text this morning, by the way, at 833-478-4729. Where do I pick up merchandise? Well, we actually have merchandise on sale in our merchandise store here at the stadium, but you can actually order it by going to www.merch, see how cool we are, .merch, M-E-R-C-H, rev, REV.com, merchrev.com. And when you get in there, go to buy now, which you don't get tied into anything. When you go to buy now, you'll see our stuff up there on the web. And don't forget also your ticket packages for the Revolution. They're starting April 21st against Lancaster. Opening day right here. I'll be doing the game with Daryl that night. I'm looking forward to that. I love opening days. And you can get those ticket packages right now at YorkRevolution.com and find out all the news about the Revolution. And please disregard the fact that Daryl Henry is retiring. He is not. That was an April Fool's joke. And this hour being brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent. You know, Trish, she is so far out in front of all the stuff that can happen to you in life. And she's reminding us all the time of things that we can do to make sure we don't have to be reactive, instead be proactive. She helps out in her insurance agency offering coverage in cars, homes, life, as well as renters policies. And she's willing to answer your questions. Give her a call at 717-848-4336. Open 9 to 5 daily at 1866 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York. 17404. Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK. With that, we turn this morning to our business blogger, James Sanders, who has got some a great article for us this morning. Good morning, James. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Gary. Happy Masters Week.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Masters get started on Thursday. Who's your pick of the Masters this year?
Patrick Reed.
Who is it?
Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed. One of the nastiest guys on the tour. Although he's actually.
Come on, he's not the nastiest.
Oh, he's awful. He's a horrible human being. Come on. Nobody his family doesn't even like him. You know, that's
all right.
Yeah, but that's now. How in the world did you, a nice guy, pick Patrick Reed?
Have you watched what he's doing on the DP World Tour? He's won twice.
Okay.
You asked me who's going to win. I didn't say who's the nicest.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be socially relevant there. I wasn't trying to be, all that good stuff. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't trying to be. I moved it into the social realm, and I shouldn't do that. I should have just stayed with my normal Pete Rose mentality of, well, Pete Rose is not a nice guy, but he belongs to the Hall of Fame. Okay, so there you go. Pat Reed is not a nice guy, but he could. Well, he is good. I mean, he can play that course. He's won there before, so he can play it. Although when he won, his own family didn't even come to see him. That's how bad. That's how horrible he is. But anyway, no, Scotty Scheffler has always won, but I have a sneaking suspicion Jordan Spieth is going to play well. And the other guy, if I were to pick somebody right now, someone said yesterday, who would you pick? I said Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood is a competitor. This guy out of England, I love the way he plays, and he's been knocking on the door of one of these for a long time. I think he could be the guy. But Patrick Reed is not a bad pick. It really isn't. I'm sincere. So anyway, you had this article you sent me today is Gen Z employees can't bear the 9 to 5 grind, so they're using lunch breaks to nap and cry in bizarre places throughout New York City. What the heck is this article about?
It caught my attention over the weekend. I'm like, oh, this one takes the cake.
Yeah.
And I get the whole nap thing. Like, we all get that afternoon siesta. The Europeans, and especially in Spain, have been doing it for eons, right? But this whole cry factor, like going and having a cannoli and it's okay to cry while you're eating your cannoli on your lunch break, like come on, give me a break.
There's no crying in baseball. Yeah, there's no crying. Come on, you're a guy. Get to work. Let's go.
Well, it doesn't mean guy, girl, doesn't matter. Like, what are you crying about? You have a job. If you don't like it, change it.
Well, and if you have a job in New York City, it's a pretty good chance it's a pretty good paying job, too, right?
Well, it could be. It could be. But, when I see articles like this, it just tells me this is kind of the natural progression of the, how do you feel about how things are going, and what do you think's going to go on with your life? And it's okay, you can feel the way you feel. Like that's fine, but reality starts to hit you in the face, and you've got obligations, and you've got to do things that hopefully better yourself over time. And again, when I hear about things like this, I don't think it's the majority of the population in the Gen Z world. I mean, we have a lot of great Gen Z aged folks that are out there just absolutely killing it. But there's this certain percentage of their generation that feels the need to do this. And then, of course, you're going to get the press which dutifully writes on this. Thankfully, it's the New York Post, one of my favorite papers to read, because, they have a tendency to kind of make light of that fact.
Right.
Now, one thing I will carve out, I do like the afternoon nap. Like, as I get older in life, I sit there and say to myself, you know what? 10 minutes would be perfect because I'm refreshed.
I'm going to give you a preview. As you get older, you'll like it a lot more. But yeah, I sneak in a 20 to 30 minute nap, and I know exactly what you're talking about, and it really does juice you up for the rest of the day. Then, so
100%. It's like a shot of caffeine a lot of times. But this whole cry thing is just I don't know. I can't get my head around it.
If I saw someone crying, I would full-blown Tom Hanks, A League of Their Own, I would go off.
Yeah.
There's no crying. Come on. There's no crying in work. Come on, let's go. It says that in this article, stressed out young employees across New York City are ditching their work desks for store fitting rooms, movie theaters, and even designated, are you kidding me, nap pods, quote unquote, in search of a safe place to catch up on sleep, decompress, or sneak in a full-blown meltdown in the middle of the day. The 1-hour lunch break has become a 1-hour nap break. Really? Come on. You got to be kidding me.
Maybe it's just the way I was raised. Maybe it's, how I've worked throughout my life, but I can't get my head around it. And look, I mean, I'm an employer here in New York, and I've got people that work for me, and if some of them are listening and they think I'm a big ogre, so be it. It's just my it's my view on the world.
Right.
If you're upset about something, come talk to me about it. But we're not going down the cry path on let's be adults in the situation.
This one guy, TikTok user Ben Sanderson. This tells you how bad TikTok can be. Ben Sanderson, recently racked up over 1 million views in a viral clip. 1 million views, in which he confessed to sneaking in a midday nap in a Midtown AMC theater, where he says, I went to the theater, I paid $15 for a ticket, then I went in, curled up, and took a nap. Really? I mean, really? You got to do that during the day? It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting here reading this, and I'm thinking, this is where we are now? Okay, all right, fine.
Do what you want on your break. That's fine. If you want to go cry, you want to go sleep, whatever. But leave it out there when you come into the office or you come into your workplace. Get to work.
Suit up, play the game, join the team. Let's go. Exactly. Well, you can see where the empathy is here in this particular segment from you and me. I said, "Jiminy Christmas!" I mean, there is no way. I mean, I don't get all this stuff. When you go to work, you're there to work. I was never one to, socialize too much with people. I wasn't a faculty room guy when I taught. I wasn't a break room guy when we worked on my other job. And Mark will attest to the fact I wasn't the most social guy, but I wasn't antisocial. But by the same token, I always kind of believe when you're there to work, get it done, and then when you're done, you're done. Although this job really is never totally done, but you get the idea, which you found out by being a sit-in host last week, right?
Hey, look, I was exhausted by the end. You're right. There's a little bit of there's anxiousness, there's excitement, but I got to the office. I felt like I needed a nap. I didn't take one, but I felt like I needed one.
There you go. I did see one part in the article here. It said this generation didn't cause employee suffering; they just refused to ignore it. And whether older generations like it or not, I think it's going to change the dialogue for us, as one person said in the article. They said, unlike millennials or Gen Zers, these young adults were raised in a world where talking about mental health is normal, so they set boundaries and speak up before they hit burnout, even in surprising or strange ways. And I thought that was interesting because, when my parents worked or their parents worked, they didn't talk about mental health. They didn't talk about all the things they were suffering. I have a good friend, Scott Nass, I play golf with. And Scott always says, if I say something about a shot, he goes, nobody cares. And he's right. And nobody generally cares. And so it's not that we don't care about people, but people don't want to hear your excuses all the time. It gets boring at work. They don't want to hear about all of your maladies. They don't want to hear about how you have it tougher than everybody else does that day. It's just you go about your business. You kept that kind of stuff kind of private, and that was that. It's not so much that now, again, in the world of social media, right? And in a world where you openly talk about, well, here's how I'm feeling today, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I don't want to minimize mental health and
no, not at all.
I've seen people go through that, and it's awful to watch. But that being said, there is that segment of society that it's easier and becomes groupthink for them to sit there and complain constantly. Because in my mind, and I had a boss one time, because I got in that trap. He's like, it's really lazy thinking to complain all the time. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to listen to you for a couple minutes on this, moving forward. But if you don't come in here, you can complain for about 2 minutes. But if you come in here and do that, I'm going to stop you and say, "What's your solution?
Yep.
What are you going to do about it?" And I've taken that with me, and I employ that when I have people that work for me, or even with my kids. I'm like, "Guys, I'm listening to you. I understand what you're saying. What's your solution?"
Right.
And you may not have it right now, but get moving on.
Because I don't want to hear the same thing tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you got to deal with it. You signed up for this. You got to deal with it. We'll work with it to a certain degree. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's on you to make sure you acclimate to what's going on. I always talk about the double A's. Attack and adjust. Attack with what you know and adjust to what you don't. Learn to adjust, be adaptable, move on. Amen. How's that?
There's the coach in you. I like it.
How's that for Mr. Understanding, huh? Yeah.
I like it.
I always liked it. I had a kid one time. His parents came in, and they said, the parents came in, and they didn't think he was playing enough time, and they said, "My child's really trying hard." And I said, "I got that." And I said, "I love your kid, like I love all the other kids on my team." I said, "Here's the problem." I said, "If I stand two people in front of me, and this one says, 'I'm trying,' and this one says, 'I'm trying and getting it done,' who do you think's starting? Who's on the starting five?" I got news for you. It ain't the one that's trying. It's the one that's trying and getting it done. I appreciate the trying, but I really appreciate the trying and getting it done. Get it done. Quit your crying. Quit buying tickets. Quit going off in the corner and whimpering. Get to work. How's that?
Oh. I like it. I like it, Gary.
See what you did to me this morning? You turned me into a raving maniac. Yeah. All your fault. Anyway, James, good article this morning. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend.
Have a great week.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
James Sanders here this morning, turning me into a more of a raging man. Mark's shaking his head. He's going, well, I knew he'd do it. He got him going. When we come back, how about this? Trish Hauser with Distracted Driving, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
The Michigan Wolverines, national champions of men's college basketball. For the first time since 1989, the Wolverines won the NCAA tournament. Michigan led UConn by 6 points with just over 2 minutes to play when the Huskies forced a key turnover and nearly closed the gap.
McKinney sets a screen. Reed knocks it away. Reed trying to catch up to it. He saves it. Ball couldn't finish. And now Michigan pushing the other way. Numbers here. Cadeau, the bounce. Johnson through his legs. Saves it for Gale. Off the drive, McKinney sets the feet, fires, connects! A big one for McKinney!
NCAA men's basketball final on TNT Sports. Trey McKinney's three-pointer with under 2 minutes left gave Michigan a 65-56 lead. A series that could have seen UConn get to within 4 points saw Michigan go up 9 and then hold on to win 69-63. While the Wolverines were held under 90 points for the first time in 6 games of this tournament, they controlled UConn's pace and led most of the game. Michigan won despite hitting only 38% of its field goal attempts.
Well, if you told me we could shoot it this poorly, get dominated on the glass, and still find a way to win, I don't know if I would have believed you. But this team's just found a way all season.
How did they find a way? What is it about this team?
I love, respect, and trust amongst themselves.
Michigan head coach Dusty May, a national champion with TNT Sports, after the Wolverines won the NCAA men's basketball final 69-63 over UConn, which had won the championship in 2023 and 24. This is Michigan's first national basketball title in 37 years. The most outstanding player of the Final Four, Michigan's Elliot Cadeau. He scored a game-high 19 points Monday. Former Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone reportedly will become the men's basketball coach at the University of North Carolina, which recently fired Hubert Davis. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It's a Tuesday morning, and we welcome this morning Trish Hauser. She is a sponsor of this hour on the Gary Sutton Show. Of course, State Farm Insurance Agent, 1865 North Susquehanna Trail here in York. She is available every day at 717-848-4336 during the course of the week from 9 to 5, but she makes appointments, and she has an insurance agency that covers cars and life insurance, homes, as well as renters policies, and she's here this morning with a few thoughts on distracted driving. Good morning, Trish. How are you?
I am good. How are you today?
I am very well, not distracted at all, totally focused in on what you have this morning for us on distracted driving, because I'll tell you what, that is something we're seeing a lot of now, especially with cell phones and mobile devices and everything else out there, right?
I can't even begin to tell you. I have actually been doing this for 32 years, and when I listen to the stories of what's happening, especially because of cell phones and all of that, it has really changed the stories of how the accident happened. And, you know, State Farm's been around for over 100 years, and they actually have a campaign right now really advertising about distracted driving because they're seeing so many deaths from it.
I saw, did I see 10,000 deaths, 1.3 million injuries a year? I mean, that's incredible when you think about it.
And 68% of the drivers admit to engaging in distracted driving. And really, all you have to do is drive down the road and you see it. People are drinking their coffee, they're eating lunch, breakfast, they're posting, Instagram, they're doing their lipstick, checking their kids in the back seat, just rubbernecking at accidents. People are watching TV, daydreaming, nodding off. 44% of the drivers admit to crashing or having a near crash while engaging in distracted driving. And I know, just personal, my daughter had her driver's license 1 week, and she was looking down at her radio and hit a parked car. And I remember she called me. She was upset and crying, and she goes, "I'm never going to look down at my radio again while I'm driving." And I thought I started yelling at her, and she's like, "If you treat all your policyholders the way you're treating me, you won't have any." And I took the radio out, and I said, "When you learn how to drive properly and have the money to put the radio back in, That's when you're getting it back.
Well, we hear about Tiger Woods. Yeah, what did he say? I was fiddling with the radio. I was looking down at my cell phone. Right there was the poster child for this is distracted driving. And then, of course, turns his car up on the side there. And, of course, driving under the influence came to play there with some drugs and so forth. But still, I mean, he admitted to saying, hey, I was doing this stuff, which is on your list right here.
Right, and my son Gareth, that you guys know, he had, I don't know if he was at Taco Bell or where, and he was worried because I guess he was making a turn and everything started to fall out and he didn't want his car to get dirty, and he hit a pole because he was fixing his lunch. But you need to know your laws. A lot of them now, the cell phone, electronic devices, hands-free, your seatbelt. The driver's license, how many kids are allowed to be in a car? Because, if the kids are in the car, there's going to be distractions the more you have. And I know that just from my own experience when I was a kid. Now they have so many things like accident assistance, drive safe and save, steer clear programs we have for State Farm for kids to learn. And I don't know about your car, but my car has this thing where if I get too close to a car, this thing comes on and it'll slam my brakes on.
Well, I have that, and I also have, when I hit the lines, that little anything like that. If I do anything wrong in my car anymore, it's like having my wife with me all the time. It's like, honey, you're doing this. So I'm coloring within the lines a lot better now, so to speak.
Well, it's funny you say that because I have that thing where if it hits the line, it jerks you back in.
Yes.
And when my husband's in my car, he turns all that stuff off.
Oh, Mike.
Which is not good.
Mike.
Yeah, because then I feel that, that thing on the road where your car goes.
Is Mike in trouble a lot at your house? I get the impression that you keep him. Okay, that's what I thought. But he's lovable.
He is.
He's lovable, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So you want to make sure you refocus your drive, be safe, be intentional, pay attention.
Yep.
You're not looking around. I know another instance where a child was in the back seat, and I know they have mirrors now where parents can kind of look in the rearview mirror,
right.
But she turned around and wasn't familiar with the road and ran a stop sign and hit someone and killed them.
Oh, my gosh.
And, it's that 1 second, where things happen. So you want to make sure that you look at the safety features nowadays on a vehicle because they are beneficial. Make sure you eat, do your makeup, all those shave, whatever you need to do before you leave. Or do it when you get to work, something like that. Make sure your mirrors are right and pay attention because people are slamming their brakes on, especially in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
How many people slam their brakes on, except for animals, deer, rabbits, squirrel. I've had people, they hit someone because someone slammed their brakes on for a squirrel, you know. So, and even, with pets, your pets get on your lap and then you can't steer properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't ever have my cats in my lap when I go outside. That's a nice, safe thing. So, a wrap-up statement here for people. What would you say a good rule of thumb would be here, Trish? Because you're the master of preventative.
I say set your playlist for all of your radio, everything. Have it done before you leave. Make sure with your cell phone you just go on to Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
And if you have to take a call, pull over and just have your mindset. If you're stressed, tired, overwhelmed, anything like that. But keep your eyes in front of you and pay attention, because it is so important because it takes 1 second and 2 seconds, and you could have an accident or kill someone, who knows?
Remember, you got to
could impact the rest of your life.
Play well with others out there. You're out with a little mini society when you're out driving. Do your part. You're still going to have other people who are going to be, and be aware. And you can't be aware when you're trying to multitask and do 18 million things. And I know that from bad habits over the years. Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, sponsor of this hour, always with great information every week. And this one of the biggest ones, 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York. Give her a call at 717-848-4336. Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. And Trish, great piece this morning. Thank you so much. This is information we all need to be reminded of at least. Okay?
Okay, have a great weekend.
Have a wonderful week, Trish. Thank you so much. And again, another great piece here this morning. Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent. Give her a call today. 717-848-4336. She can help you with coverage for cars, homes, life, as well as renters policies. And she's a sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. When we come back, Andy Harold joins us from Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law on a point of law. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Again, that's that trademark beginning to a Hall & Oates song. Played a lot of Hall & Oates today, and
John Oates'
birthday, yeah. How old? 78?
78.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOIK. You know, I used to think when 78 came that, it seemed like it was pretty old when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But now you look at 78 and say, he's not that old.
Yeah. He's hanging in there.
So anyway, welcome back to Gary Sutton Show. Andrew Harold is with Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law. He's one of their newest lawyers there, but he's been around the law scene for a long time. Of course, Stein and Sparler, one of the presenting sponsors of our show. But we have a segment called A Point of Law, and Andrew Harold joins us here this morning. Andy, how you doing? Great to have you on this morning.
Gary, I'm great. Good to be here. Last week you were talking, I think, about Keith Jackson. Is that right?
Yes.
I wasn't old enough to remember him, but I know Hall & Oates. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I got Hall & Oates.
Very nice. Are you trying to redeem yourself in my estimation now or something? You hurt me so badly last week with the Keith Jackson thing. Oh, Gary, I didn't remember Keith Jackson. I thought, thanks, Andy. Appreciate that. But anyway, great to have you this morning, my friend. Always good to have you aboard. What do you have for us this morning on Point of Law?
Yeah, I thought I would start talking this week and the next few weeks about estate planning. That's one of my core areas.
Okay.
And really, and again, I'll kind of take this step by step over the next couple weeks.
All right.
Thought I would start this morning by talking about what we call the durable financial power of attorney. Really, any estate plan has three primary documents here in Pennsylvania, and that is the durable financial power of attorney, the health care power of attorney, and the last will and testament. And again, I thought I would start today by talking about the durable financial power of attorney. And what does that do? The durable financial power of attorney is effective while you are alive, okay? It becomes invalid the minute that you die, but it is valid while you are alive, and it's a really important document to have because what the durable financial power of attorney allows somebody to do for you is handle all of your financial, all of your legal affairs. This can be a very important document, particularly if you become incapacitated. If you become incapacitated, if you cannot get out and handle your affairs, if you can't get to the bank, if you can't pay your taxes, you need somebody to be able to do that. And the durable financial power of attorney allows a trusted person in your life to be able to do that. And again, that can be very critically important because if you become incapacitated and you don't have a durable financial power of attorney, the likelihood is that your family, that your loved ones are going to be forced to go before the court and to ask the court to declare you to be an incapacitated person. And that can be, first of all, it's expensive because you're going to have to get an attorney involved. You're going to have to pay that attorney. You're going to have to pay the filing fees at the court. It can be a lengthy process. You're going to have the doctor come in, get qualified to testify. And most importantly, it can be a really emotionally draining process.
I would think,
It's never fun. To have to go before a court, to have a doctor testify that mom or dad is an incapacitated person, that person doesn't have the capacity to legally handle their affairs. That can be a really emotionally draining thing for family.
Well, and I would think, too, if you're saying that about a mom or a dad or whatever, that's emotionally draining on you because now you feel like a creep. I mean, to some degree, people are going to feel guilty, whether they should be or not. They're maybe doing the right things, but you're going to feel guilty. I mean, you're going to feel bad about that, right?
Absolutely. And frequently, what we call the alleged incapacitated person, mom or dad, has to be brought into court so that the court can actually, and that is just, it wreaks havoc emotionally on the family. So again, if you have this durable financial power of attorney in place, that is going to alleviate the need to go into the court and have mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever the case may be, it's going to alleviate the need for that for the incapacity proceeding before the court, and it's really important to have that in place.
Plus, you're kind of working together with the person who has given you that durable power of attorney privilege, right, at that particular point. So you're thinking about working together with them instead of someone working for you in the case of being totally incapacitated.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And you bring up an important point, and that is that it's critically important to pick the right person to be your financial power of attorney. You don't want to pick somebody that is untrustworthy, that might have issues with drugs or alcohol or gambling. You need to be able to trust that person inherently because, again, you're giving them a lot of authority to handle your legal affairs.
That's a great point. My mother gave me the power of attorney. I remember that's the only time I've ever had it, and thank heavens I would never want to do it again. But it was draining. I mean, it was draining after she passed. But you know what? She and I were working together during her lifetime. She would talk to me about different things that I should be aware of and so forth. And you don't like doing that, and yet at the same time, you much prefer to be out in front of that as opposed to being caught by that later on or having something, as you mentioned here earlier, happen where you have to go and say, well, she's not able to take care of herself. And, you didn't have that power of attorney. I think that's really an important point you made this morning, Andy. Final thoughts?
Just, again, the final thought is that it's not just important for when you get old. It can really be convenient and important while you're young as well. In fact, my wife used our power of attorney to close on our house. I was still stationed down in Texas. She moved back here prior to me moving back, and so she used the power of attorney to close.
Wow.
So it's not just something that you need when you get older. It can really be convenient and important while you're young as well.
That is really interesting. I hadn't thought about it from that standpoint. So she had power of attorney because you weren't there, right? I mean,
yeah. Let's say that what if you're on a cruise somewhere for 2 or 3 weeks,
right?
And you need somebody to handle something for you. That power of attorney is going to allow that person to step in and do that.
Wow. You taught me something this morning. I did not know about all that. But in coming weeks, we're going to find about health care and final plans and how power of attorney figures into all that as well. Really good stuff this morning. So much appreciate that, Andy. And again, Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law, one of our presenting sponsors here on the show. And you're right there, 117 East Market Street, New York, right?
Absolutely, Gary.
And ready to help estate planning. Andy Harold stands ready for you. And all you need to do is just give them a call, and they are ready to help you. They're open 8:30 to 5 every single day. You can give them a call at 717-846-8811. Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law. Andy Harold, one of the great lawyers over there. They've been around since 1937, a gold standard. And as you always say, Andy, ready to welcome everybody from the main streets of York County in when they need legal representation, especially in the areas of things like estate planning, right?
Happy to help everybody, Gary.
Andy, thanks so much, my friend. Always good talking to you. We'll catch you next week, next Monday, as we continue into this idea of power of attorney, okay?
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great week. Andy Harold from Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, we've been doing a lot of Give Local York insights into what people are doing in this community. Well, Cindy Richard is one of those people with suicide prevention. She's up next right here on the Gary Sutton Show to tell you all about what they're doing in that area here on WOYK. Doing a lot of Hall & Oates today. John Oates' birthday, 78, an iconic group that really gave us a great sound out of the Philadelphia area. And remembering them this morning, but also remembering a lot of people who are having tough times. And sometimes they turn to the worst solution, which is to commit suicide. And one of the people here this morning that's been doing an awful lot in the area of suicide prevention is Cindy Richard, Suicide Prevention of York, here with us this morning on the Gary Sutton Show, part of the Give Local York series where we are highlighting nonprofits who are out there doing great things in the community. Cindy, welcome to the show. Great to have you on.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, Cindy, you know, we have so many pressures in the world today, a lot of things going on that really affect people. I know we have through history had that, but it seems like today we have a lot more pressure with all the kinds of things like social media and bullying and all the kind of things you hear about. Talk a little bit about Suicide Prevention of York and what you're doing right now in the community to try to lessen that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on for everybody right now, and Suicide Prevention of York has been around since 2007. We started out as a coalition, and we began to talk about how people can take care of their mental health and try to work things out in a better way. And then we turned into a nonprofit in 2018, and it's so much better now than it was.
Yeah.
But there's still too many people taking their life, and we want to start working with people on that and working on mental wellness. So we've been doing a lot of education so that people can see ahead of time if somebody's struggling. We do some intervention. And then we also help people with postvention on people that have lost someone to suicide, just need a lot of help too. So we've started support groups and we've started working with people on how to handle if they've lost someone to suicide. So it's a full circle, but we want to prevent it and we want to keep people from taking their lives. We have not had a month without a suicide in York County since December 1999.
So suicide prevention, intervention, postvention services as well. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Postvention is where you support the people that have lost someone to suicide. When Pam Gay was coroner, she started a group of community volunteers that are trained and are working very carefully to help the families that have lost someone to suicide specifically. This last year with the Department of Veterans a grant, we started a suicide mortality review board here in York County to kind of get people to look at why are people dying by suicide and what did we miss? How could we prevent? And there's some great people that serve on that board also. So we're trying to prevent it and we're trying to help the people and the families. I mean, kids all the way up to adults.
Right.
After they've lost someone to suicide.
sp-york.org is the website people can go to. But you talk about reaching out, saving lives, touching hearts. Have you found, as you've been dealing with this for some time now, is there a group right now that's surging more in this area of suicide than maybe another group in a general sense?
It's a wave. It seems like we went for a while where we weren't losing our youth under the age of 18 or 21. And we lost 5 students this last year to suicide in the school districts. And that's a lot for us. But our older adults are dying too. And so it's basically, I guess the highest rate right now, as of last year, is like 40 to 60-year-olds. When you think about what goes on in a life of a person from 40 to 60,
a lot.
There's a lot of change.
Right.
So I think that says a lot right there. But when you get into your older years, like in your 70s, 80s, 90s, that's when you start having your body starts breaking down a little bit, and sometimes there's a divorce. Relationship issues are the number one reason why people die by suicide in all ages. So I think it just depends a lot on what's going on in your life. What are your coping skills? Coping skills are learned as a young child, how to cope with different things that go on in your life. And if you don't learn those and build some resiliency, it can be something small that just activates whatever happens later on in your life, or it builds up. It just builds up where you can't take it anymore. So I think, and one thing I want to say that's really, really, really important is when you're having issues like this, have people around you, because connection is so important. And if somebody is going through something like this, try to connect with them, and that can save a life in itself.
And I know you have survivor support groups here. You have somewhat at 45 West Canal Street in Dover, the first Tuesday at United Church of Christ. That's 6:30 to 8 in Dover. You've also got virtual sessions the second Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m., third Tuesday, 6:30 to 8, fourth Thursday, 1 to 2:30. You're going to have the big give here coming up on April 30th over to May 1st. And obviously, you're looking to get people to support your particular group. Final thought on that this morning.
Yes, all of our services are at no cost. So, we need that money. We need the money to continually educate and get out there and work with people. So I think it's really important that we don't add cost onto whatever someone's doing. And we have just joined Suicide Prevention Foundation, which is a worldwide support group for people that are needing help all over the world. And so, we were asked to do that too. So that's once a month too. It's the last Tuesday of the month. So we're trying to get out there and provide all of our education as much as possible to help people survive suicide, but also prevent it.
Suicide Prevention of York, sp-york.org. Cindy Richard with us this morning. Cindy, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to explain more about this. Very important. And again, April 30th to March 1st, when it's time to give local York, think about Suicide Prevention of York as one of the great organizations doing work here to help all of us stay alive and then to live good, healthy lives as well. Cindy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up next here on the Gary Sutton Show at 8:05, we're going to welcome in Tanya Schaefer of Children, Family, and Youth in York here. Child Abuse Prevention Month is going on. We're going to tell you about that. Eugene DePasquale joins us at 8:35 this morning as we take a look at the world of politics. And then what affects us more every day than our computers, right? We're carrying those suckers around with us all the time. Well, Walt Oakham of York Computer Repair will tell us about one of his big tips for the day when he joins us all here in the next hour on the Gary Sutton Show. This hour has been brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York. Check her out today. Trish Hauser. It is 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good. I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day. And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to the Gary Sutton Show, Tuesday morning, our final hour. Is that possible? We've been going through so much here this morning, and great to have you on. Of course, brought to you by our presenting sponsors, kindnessworldwide.org. You know, it all got started with Kevin Smith lost his darn wallet. And ever since, he's been losing that wallet. But that one really hit him back on a Good Friday 3 years ago. And he hasn't recovered since. In fact, in a very positive way, he's taken that and turned it into a kindness movement that is going around the world now. They just got nominated, by the way, for another award yesterday for such a moment as this. Another all over the place, this documentary film for or such a time as this. Excuse me, I said such a moment, such a time as this, and it's getting nominated for awards all over the world right now for this documentary, and it all started right here in York. So the question is, why not you? Why not us? Why not right now? You know, kindness is the world's great superpower, and all it needs is just a little bit of push from you and me. Yeah, see the good, be the good, go the extra mile, kindnessworldwide.org. Inside and Sprawler Attorneys of Law, you heard from Andy Harold just a few moments ago, and they are a place where when it comes to estate planning, when it comes to estate administration, Andy's been explaining that to us, this is the place to go. Been around since 1937. They're located at 117 East Market Street right here in York. And you can give them a call between 8:30 and 5 today, every weekday, at 717-846-8811. As we said, they've been around since 1937, and they are ready to help people off the main street of York and York County to deal with things having to do with the law. And don't forget, our text line today, our Back Nine text line is up and running. The Back Nine is the great indoor golf place you can go to here in York at 259A. Right out there at Pauline Drive. 833-478-4729 is the number. 833-478-4729 is the number. You can text us on anything that you have a thought about during the course of the program right there at the text line. The Back Nine text line right here on WOYK. And when you go to back9york.com, or back9.com/York-PA, you can find out about some of the summer programs they have going on out there as well, because when it's really hot outside and you want to go inside, they have air conditioned, 4 bays, beautiful place to go, and they're ready for you. And don't forget, you can go to @Gary Sutton on Facebook every day. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And find generally our question of the day. That Gary Sutton Show on Facebook is where we go for all of our postings, our podcasts, and things like that. So that's the place we'd like you to check in at. And don't forget, after the show, if you want to go back to a podcast, WOYK on YouTube is where you can go here on the Gary Sutton Show. And, of course, this hour of the Gary Sutton Show sponsored by Your Computer. yourcomputer.net or yourdigitalbodyguard.com. It is a place you can go for a computer repair, a place you can go for new computers, and a place you go for someone who is guarding your digital back door. I'll tell you what, I have seen so many different ways that people are trying to break into our digital world here, and it's scary. It really is scary. But you know what's not scary? Walt Oakman, the good people at Your Computer Repair, because they're guarding that digital backdoor regularly. And I know that because they did it a couple times for me already in the midst of chaos on my computer. They stepped through and fixed it up. They keep an eye on what's going on. We'll tell you how you can do that. Walt Oakman will be joining us later on in the hour right here in the Gary Sutton Show. But they're located at 2069 Carlisle Road, right out here in the Shiloh area of York. Give them a call today. They are ready to help you in a moment's notice. 717-739-9675. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. York Computer, because it feels good to have peace of mind. Tell them Gary Sutton sent you today. With all that having been said this morning, we are welcoming a very special guest here to start the hour, and that is Tanya Schaefer. And Tanya Schaefer is a person who is in charge of children, family, and youth here in York County. It is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we welcome Tanya to the show this morning. Tanya, great to have you on. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Gary, for having me.
Well, it's an honor to have you aboard. Child Abuse Prevention Month, and this is one of those areas that when you hear about it, it just you cringe. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing over at Children, Family, and Youth.
So our agency is here to basically work with the entire county, all of our children and families that reside here, in handling all of the child abuse and neglect referrals that come in on any youth that resides in the county. The county is rather large, as most people already know, so we cover anywhere from Dillsburg to Delta and basically Wrightsville to Hanover, which basically constitutes us landing in about the number 3 position out of 67 counties every year for the number of child abuse and neglect referrals that we receive.
You know, we hear about this and we go, yeah, child, family and youth, child abuse prevention month, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, not because we don't care, but our eyes kind of glaze over. Give us an idea of the number of kinds of instances where you are called into action.
So it is pretty eye-opening. In the last 2 years, we have actually averaged about 15,500 calls into our office or our Pennsylvania State Child Abuse Hotline per year in 2024 and 2025. So when you think of that number, yes, our county is large, but 15,000 referrals is a lot. So we actually like to look at it as our caring community is staying aware and they're making the calls. And if they have a concern, they're reaching out, because without that, we aren't able to take the steps that we need to make sure that our kids are safe.
When you have these kinds of numbers, 15,000 plus, obviously, I'm sure there's some in there that don't turn out to be that. But how do you have like a way of investigating that or making sure that you're getting legitimate kind of cases as opposed to some that might be less than legitimate?
We do. So you are correct. There is no possible way that we would be able to investigate 15,000 calls.
Right.
Staffing issues are something we continue to deal with. It is an issue across the state. It is an issue across the country. When it comes to child welfare, it's a very difficult job. But with that said, we do have an entire department of staff that take those calls, that screen those calls, that make extra calls out to the referral source, to family members, trying to determine if it is really a legit call, if it's something we need to send a caseworker out to investigate. Oftentimes, the family just needs some guidance, some resources, and so my staff will provide them with some information to contact community resources if we feel that's a good avenue for them. Otherwise, we will assign a caseworker who will do an assessment and or investigation to determine if there's something that's bigger going on in the family.
We're talking with Tanya Schaefer of Children, Family, and Youth here in York County. Tanya, most of us, when we think about child abuse, we think about the sexual kind. And I think that's what we hear about mostly in the news. But there's other kind of abuse as well, is there not?
There absolutely is, yes. Actually, sexual abuse is very serious.
Right.
But it is actually not the number one referral reason. Typically, it is physical abuse. So any type of physical discipline that crosses the line and crosses the threshold, leaves an injury, things like that. But what we are really usually tied the most into is more so substance abuse cases, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, believe it or not, just behavioral issues, mental health concerns of the parent and or the child, truancy, kids not going to school because of maybe mental health concerns or homelessness. So there's actually a lot of other reasons that were typically involved outside of those main ones that folks would think about.
You talked about the physical abuse aspect, and a lot of people remember the old days of corporal punishment. Is corporal punishment you said if it has lasting effects or it has an effect, but a lot of people would say that corporal punishment is not something that they would ever use on their children anymore, obviously because of the times in which we live. And your thoughts on that and where that kind of fits into this whole spectrum?
Sure. So it's hard to explain to some folks because using physical discipline is not against the law. Parents are permitted to physically discipline their child if they feel that that is part of their culture, their upbringing, how they feel they need to handle situations. But the Child Protective Services law is very clear in what can constitute physical abuse. Right. So there is a threshold that an individual could possibly cross while utilizing a form of physical discipline. If it leaves some type of injury, substantial pain to the child, they're not able to sit for a period of time or things like that. Obviously, there's, lots of things we could get into there, but there is different pieces of the law that we have to look at when we receive a referral for physical abuse, and we believe that it is in some form of physical discipline.
Tanya, when people are reporting abuse, and I guess this would be kind of toward the end of what I want to ask you, is there a general rule of thumb that you would say to people? Because you don't want to be interfering with families, and yet at the same time, you don't want someone suffering within a family. So there's got to be some medium point there, I guess, that you'd say, okay, well, what would be a rule of thumb that I would use if I were seeing a situation where abuse might be suspected? I know as a teacher, when I was a teacher for 25 years, they were teaching about these kind of things, and I was in student discipline for a while, and so we had to watch for certain telltale signs. What are the things that you would say to people in terms of preventing child abuse and yet not interfering too much in what a family's doing?
Sure, that's a really difficult one, and something that my assistant administrator and I have actually tried to get out into the schools and into the community to talk more about, because it is hard. It is very hard, especially as a community member when you're seeing a child suffering, to try to determine if that's a call that you should make. So the number one thing we always say is, if you even remotely suspect abuse or neglect, just make the call. It is not your job as a community member to try to determine if it actually is abuse or neglect. That's our job. So if you make that call, don't feel bad about making that call. We will do everything from there to determine if something needs to happen. Other than that, some things to look for is unexplained injuries. If you see injuries to a child that they just don't have an explanation for, repeated injuries that just don't make sense. A child looking underweight, maybe neglected medically, or not being fed properly, things like that, especially in smaller children. A lot of the really telltale signs of any parent, if you would have a concern for your own child, if you're seeing that in another child, we usually just say to be safe and make the call.
Yeah. Hey, good stuff. Where can people find out more about what you do, Tanya?
So we actually are revamping our county website right now. Okay. There's a lot that we're putting into that. So if you go to yourcountypa.gov, there's an individual page for our Children, Youth, and Families site, and there's a lot of preventative services we're involved in, a lot that we're trying to put some money into the community without our actual involvement in families, to get them what they need to keep them from becoming involved with our agency. So there's a lot on there, some resources and things that folks can look into, or if they need anything, they can always call our office at 717-846-8496.
Tanya, really appreciate you taking the time this morning, again, as we have safety in the community, and again during Child Abuse Prevention Month, especially high on looking out for our kids here in our community. Thanks for all you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Take care now. Tanya Schaefer from Children, Family, and Youth Services right here in York County, part of yourcounty.gov. Child Abuse Prevention Month. Again, be aware of the most vulnerable in our community and what's happening to them, and keeping our eyes on some of those things when we see something that might look a little bit different and something that's not very good. When we come back, we got more coming your way here in terms of stories, Mark.
Actually, you may remember, it's probably, would you say Goodfellas is one of the most popular movies with guys?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so there's a scene in that movie, and a lot of people forget that a lot of it was real stuff that happened, and one of the events happened on this day. So we'll go back to the movie for some, it's not source material, but
right, yeah.
You know what I mean.
I gotcha. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 8:19.
Air France made me. We walked out with $420,000 without using a gun, and we did the right thing. We gave Paulie his tribute.
45, 50, 60,000. It's going to be a good summer. I'm proud of you, Doc. That is a lot of money for a kid like you, all right? Anybody asks you where you got it, you got it in Vegas playing craps. All right? All right?
There is the scene from the movie Goodfellas, and it was on this date, 1968. Henry Hill, who in the movie is played by Ray Liotta, and Tommy DeSimone, who is played by...
That would be Robert De Niro?
That's right.
Yeah.
Commit the Air France robbery. They stole $420,000 from the cargo terminal at New York City's JFK International Airport. That's what it is today, but I think back then it might have been Idlewild. I'm not 100% sure.
You know,
because they used to steal from that one too.
Yeah, well, it was like their personal ATM. You're going out and robbing.
Good way to put it. Yes,
the airports and other places. Mm-hmm. But you know what's interesting about this? And when you hear about, he said we did the right thing. This idea of this comparative morality that we had within the family kind of look. You say, well, yeah, okay, we robbed the car, you took stuff that didn't belong to us, but we gave it to our head guy. Gave him a tribute, Paulie Sorvino, Paul Sorvino in this, and and you see the same thing like in Yellowstone and some of these other things where they talk about, well, I killed the guy, but he needed it. So I'm seeing a lot of these different things out there now, and they kind of justify in our minds, and you wonder why we get into gray areas that we get into sometimes, right?
Well, I would just say that, and you're right, the way you're pointing it out. The difference, though, is that in Goodfellas, they are hunted by the cops, and in the end, they get arrested.
Yep.
And they get charged, although Henry at one point...
He goes on witness protection.
Yes. So, I mean, he does avoid most of the really bad effects. Whereas I watched this guy, this content creator talking about Landman,
right?
Which is another
one of those
Taylor Sheridan show.
He's got to be stopped.
I'm telling you what, and this guy,
got a bunch of them out now.
Yes,
Marshall,
Madison. Yes, he's got or the Madison maybe.
Yeah, well, isn't Marshall's the one with the son of Kevin Costner?
Yes,
and then I think Rip is in that one also, isn't he?
Oh my Lord, I don't know if Rip is in it, but
he's in one of those. I saw some of the commercials the other day, and he's in one. I couldn't keep up with all the Taylor Sheridan things that were out there.
Yes, so this guy is like, he's ripping on Taylor Sheridan. He says, just a terrible show. And, these are shows glorifying criminality as long as it part of the defense of traditional values.
Well, the thing about the Goodfellas that was different from the other ones is that Ray Liotta is narrating this the whole way through and saying about, well, this is what happened. This is what we did. Come on. I mean, we had affairs. We took money from people. We killed people where it was necessary. And they made it sound like it was business as usual. Like, oh, honey, what'd you do at your job today? Well, it was a long day, honey. I had to do 2 contract killings. I had a couple of,
He was taking you inside.
But he took you inside like this is a normal, this is the way we did things. And so you were supposed to put the morality aside from that and say, well, the right and wrong isn't really part of it. It's just what they did.
But we knew they were criminals.
But you knew they were criminals. So that shadow was there, and then eventually they did kind of pay up at the end with their lives or whatever. So
I mean, if you think about how insane Yellowstone was. The father who's killing people at the train station.
There are some people out there right now going, what are you talking about, Mark?
Air quotes. He becomes the governor. His son is attorney general. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, the whole thing. One of the things, though, in Goodfellas, you think about... And here's an example of one of the little things that you think wouldn't be important. When he talks about the guy making a spaghetti sauce, he said it was a pretty good sauce.
Yeah.
It was, it had a little light on the garlic, but it was, so you're explaining every little minute detail of this whole thing. It was all kind of part of the whole jigsaw puzzle picture of who they were.
If you remember, Clemenza in Godfather also had a scene where he was making gravy.
He's cooking for all the guys at the capos
he's putting, if you remember, he was putting the meatballs in the sauce, so it was going to be cooking cooking all day.
You put your garlic in.
That's it.
You throw your meatballs in there. Yeah.
Yes, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Now we've talked a lot about the like gangster type movies.
Right.
Here, but it's, and there was a sequel to Godfather. There wasn't a sequel to Goodfellas.
No.
But here is a sequel. This is more proof that there are no new ideas in Hollywood. This movie has been sitting out there forever, and it looks like there's finally there's gonna be a sequel. Yes, there is.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
The long-awaited sequel to Mel Brooks' Spaceballs will soar into theaters next spring. The Star Wars spoof movie, which marks a return to acting for star Rick Moranis, will be released April 23rd, 2027, in time for the cult classic's 40th anniversary. Moranis will reprise his role in the goofy intergalactic adventure as Lord Darkhelmet, alongside Bill Pullman as Lone Star, Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa, and George Weiner as Colonel Sanders. The 99-year-old Brooks also returns as the Yoda-esque being Yogurt. Josh Gad headlines the new cast, which features Keke Palmer and Louis Pullman, Bill's son. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
And obviously no John Candy in this one, obviously.
Yeah,
but did we really need a Spaceballs 2? I don't know.
And wasn't Bill Pullman in that? Was he Bill Pullman?
Bill Pullman is in that. They said,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, did they say?
He's going to be
Okay.
back in that,
Okay.
yeah. By the way, this hour has been brought to you by Your Computer. You can find them at two places, yourcomputer.net or at yourdigitalbodyguard.com. And what do? They make sure they're looking out for you in terms of your digital information, whether it's network security solutions, data backup and recovery, technical support, dark web monitoring, managed detection and response, antivirus. They do all those things for me. I actually get it each month. I pay a certain amount of money in, and they watch out for me. And I'll tell you what, I am so glad I did, because I'm getting more people invading my computer than I'd ever like to see anytime. But you can give them a call today at 717-739-9675. They can also repair your computer. They could do it in-home, or you can drive out there to 2069 Carlisle Road in York, right there in the Shiloh area, and check in with them, and they will help repair your computer, take care of it, make sure you're up and running. Everything we do has to do with computers every single day, and Your Computer is ready to help you. Give them a call today at 717-739-9675 or stop out and see them. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Your Computer, the only place that I go, and they are the sponsors of this hour, the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back at 8:35, we welcome in Eugene DePasquale, all here on WOYK. She's a man-eater. Got to watch her. Another Daryl Hall and John Oates song coming back here, Hall and Oates. John Oates, 78 today. Hard to believe that, but they just a great sound out of suburban Philadelphia. And we have kind of dedicated our music today to them. There you go. By the way, someone just wrote to me and said, where do you find the Gary Sutton Show merchandise? You go to merchrev.com, and when you go in there, you're going to see a whole big array of championship shirts from last year when the Revs won back-to-back. By the way, we are opening up April 21st with opening day, Revs versus Lancaster in the Battle of the Roses. But if you go up to the top, on the left-hand side where it says Shop All, they've changed the website a little bit. When you go up to where it says Shop All, hit that, and you'll see Gary Sutton Show merchandise right there amidst the array of Revolution stuff as well. And you can find it all at our shop right here, but also our shop online, merchrev.com. Go to Shop All, and you will see the Gary Sutton Show stuff, and you can order it. And we got some great T-shirts and a pullover quarter pullover top where you have that quarter zip thing, which I wear all the time. I love those kind of things. And it's very light, by the way. So for those not quite summery nights that are coming up yet at the stadium here for some of the games, it'd be a great place to wear it. And you could let everybody know you listen to the Gary Sutton Show. All that right there. And some good T-shirts, a long-sleeve T-shirt as well. All of it there. The kind of thing you'd see Eugene DePasquale wearing, I'm sure, if he heads out to a game here, he should have it on anyway. Good morning, Eugene. How are you?
Well, if it's bold, I will.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine you not wearing a Gary Sutton Show T-shirt. I mean, you've hosted the show before. I mean, you're in here regularly. I mean, it's the least you could do.
And not only should it do, but I'm a little frustrated. I sort of was apt listening, and then I heard 78. And I said, did Gary say it's going to be 78 degrees today? And then he was like, you were talking about Hall and Oates.
Yeah, so. I did not say that. I mean, it was an age thing. And, it's going to be like 47 today. So I'm actually having to head indoors to play golf. Oh, the humanity. I mean, it's just terrible.
That's right.
Yeah. So there you go. But the things that I have to go through, I mean, it's terrible. Anyway, so what are you looking at right now? I mean, there's plenty of stuff to look at around the state, around the country, around the world. What stands out at the moment? I know we got an interesting election coming up here tonight, a special election in Georgia here for the lady seat that went out of favor with Trump there. And Democrats have overperformed in a lot of these elections, but they haven't won them necessarily.
Right.
So what are you looking for in Georgia tonight? Is that kind of a telltale sign of where things are with President Trump's policy so far?
You know, with these special elections, look, I do expect the Democrat will do a lot better than they will in November, just because it's just the reality. You just have a much more highly motivated election because it's a special election.
Right.
Republicans just aren't as motivated to go out and vote. And that's not a criticism. It's just a reality. Just look at how these other specials have gone. Democrats have won some of them, but have overperformed in all of them. I'm not convinced yet that means that everything is automatic for us in November.
Right.
But it's obviously a good sign. But Georgia's going to be an interesting tell us how much is the overperformance. And there's two things to look. A, what is Democratic turnout compared to Republican? That'll be interesting. But the other part will be is how many Republicans actually vote for the Democrat? Because that was the thing that was the interesting part about the Florida special election, where the state legislative seat where Trump is, where Mar-a-Lago is, that when the Democrat won that, is that actually 10% more of the voters were Republican, which meant some of them had to vote for the Democrats. So those are the two things to look for.
When you look at where we're at right now, this whole Iran situation, and the president had a quote yesterday. He said, "A whole civilization will die tonight." I said that this morning ahead of the Iran deadline. I got to tell you, and I mean, this is nothing against President Trump or anything. Those are not words that I think anybody needs to be saying.
Right.
Despite what you're saying you're going to do tonight, you're destroying the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. What's your take on that? Let's take Democrat, Republican, all that stuff out of it. Let's just look at it as citizens and how we feel about that kind of statement.
Look, it is no secret that I'm not a big fan of this operation, but more than that, I'm not a fan of those type of statements. I'll tell you why. First of all, there are reasons to go after the nuclear program. Is this the best way to do it? I would have my arguments, but there's reasons to do that. There are also reasons to have concerns about the Iranian regime. There are reasons to have concern about how they are funding some of the regional terrorist partners. So those are all real concerns, and how a president addresses that or doesn't address that is up for debate, but those are real concerns. I've never had a single person tell me that they have a beef with the Iranian people, yet that type of a statement will simply lead to the harm and death of potentially thousands, if not millions, of innocent Iranian civilians if he goes through with that. That's what that is, and that's a war crime. And I'm going to be clear about that. If you actually target things that will lead to the death of civilians, we tried to put an end to a lot of this after World War II, which is, I know you say rules of war, and wars are always messy, but he is saying out loud that that's a target of civilians. And to me, as an American, we are better than that, and I think it's unacceptable.
Well, he said, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." He wrote in an April 7th, today, social media post this morning. His stark warning comes after he threatened to take out, quote, "the entire country," unquote. No signs of budging on a deal to open the Strait of Hormuz. But, you mentioned the thing about war crimes. And supposedly tonight at 8 p.m., that is the deadline for Iran to make a deal. And he said every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night. Every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. The idea that we are, I think we've always had this idea that the United States is better than the countries that we are attacking, better than the aggressors, better than these bad guys that we're going into. And it worries me that we are looking like a very aggressive country here and not staying on the mission, which is, okay, let's get rid of a nuclear capacity here for Iran because they don't play well with others in the world. But beyond that, some of this cowboy talk, this bursting the chest out talk, it doesn't sit well with me as a citizen. Again, I'm not talking about this from a right or left standpoint. I'm talking about it as a citizen.
But here's where I come back to, on at least that broader point, and that is what makes me feel good, and I know that is a relative term in this discussion, that is the vast majority of Americans on the left and right disagree with that approach. So he is not speaking, he is our president, but he is not speaking for how most people on the left and right feel about this. So he is not speaking he is our president. So I'm not trying to push back on that, but he's not speaking on behalf of us when he says stuff like that. And in other words, the
way we think about it generally as people.
That's right.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to make an argument. Oh, he's not my president, all that stuff. And go down.
That's why I wanted to clarify that.
Thank you for doing that. But yes, he's not speaking for how most of us feel about this, and that's what because we have always had that. And look, as imperfect as we are, because we're all, faulty humans, we all are. But from literally the beginning of the 19th century, we have been that beacon of open freedom, and we've screwed things up. Of course we have, and we've had blunders. Of course we had. But I've always thought that there was a better angels of us all, that what we strove for, and a lot of the world also strove for that. We are losing that right now, and we've got to get that back. And those statements, to be blunt, just don't help.
Yeah, and I'm a statesman guy. I'm a guy that wants to hear a president, and sometimes what a president doesn't say is so important too, to hold some of this back. The president, and again, I'm being critical of the president on this, does not have any discipline when it comes to the way he speaks, the way he expresses things. Everything is out on the table, and some people might find that refreshing. I don't. I think there are things that we do not want to know, and things that do not need to be said, and things that do not need to be digested by whether it's the markets, foreign rulers, or whoever, and I have a difficult time with some of that. Your thoughts?
I would recommend everyone, after reading that statement, and he is not only my favorite Republican president, but he's my favorite president. I mean, he and FDR are my two favorite, and that is Abraham Lincoln. Read the second inaugural today. After reading that statement, read the second inaugural, where Lincoln is strategically, methodically, word by word, looking to put the country back together again in that second inaugural. The line, "and the war came." He doesn't blame anyone. He says, and the war came. I mean, if you look at that, it's like he's already starting to think, how do I put this country back together again? Because if I start blaming the South, there's going to be resentment, all that other stuff. Just that line, and the war came. It was a magical line, which is, yes, we could all sit there and say the South was wrong, slavery, et cetera, but he was thinking strategically. I've got to be the one to put this country back together again. That's what presidents do. You know, I heard one time that Trump wanted to be on Mount Rushmore. Every one of those presidents on Mount Rushmore did something that was outside of their ideology, that appealed to the broader angels of us all to pull the country together. And he's not behaving in that way, even if he thinks this military operation is the right thing to do, which I guess he does. But how he says these things, how in God's name, if you want Iran to be a part of the world community, could you say things like that, and then when it's over, go, oh, well, we just cut a deal? This is not a business transaction. We're not buying hotels here. People are dying. However justified or not justified this is, if you want to have Iran in the world community, if that is part of the goal of this, and to have more peace in the Middle East, he is inciting the fight, not trying to calm it down.
Well, and I think your point is well taken. It's not a business deal. So a lot of people say, well, it's good to have a businessman in, and to some degree, I would agree with that. But on another part, there is also the statesman part, where you now have to say, okay, now how are we going to meld these people back into some kind of society, assuming that they want to take over that government eventually? And again, that's a whole other complicated thing with the theocracy that they have, plus all the other stuff going on there. So there's a lot of work to do, and I think that's where we want to see a little bit more of that statesman-like approach that I hope President Trump at some point in time will take in dealing this out. So the final thing from a political standpoint, and I know you're the head of the Democratic Party here in the state of Pennsylvania, but if you're looking at a year where it's a midterm election, we got gas prices right now are going through the roof. We've got, the inflation. We got some prices up there. We've got, you can't buy a brand new house if you want to. I'm seeing like used houses are on the market. They're on in the morning, go on in the afternoon. You see an awful lot of things that are happening that are causing people and just general concern about the way the president is conducting business. Not necessarily all the business he's conducting, but maybe the way he's conducting business. If you're looking at it right now from my standpoint as a coach, you're saying, hey, the home team looks like they've got a lot of stuff on their against them right now, and the team that's visiting, the Democrats trying to take over, look like they got a lot of stuff on the plate here that's going to be positive for them come November. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no question that if you just look at the political landscape, it's favoring my party, the Democrats. A lot of time to go, but there's a lot. The thing that is going to be interesting to tell just from a context is Trump capable of changing gears?
Yeah.
He has not been capable of doing that for his time in public life. But the way things are going, he will have to do that because people are clearly not happy with the chaos, the higher prices, and there's just a part of, in 2015 when he first came down that escalator, and I'll be honest with you, sometimes I thought it was funny, too. And I think there was an element of, like, he was busting chops and shaking things up that could – I think people – and this would happen to any of us, but particularly now with everything else that's going on, I think the routine is wearing thin.
Well, and I think also, though, even if you could change gears, are people going to see it as just a strategy or a real change of consciousness? And I think therein lies part of the problem, too, that if you're in a position, whether it's President Trump or any president, and you've done this along the way, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, by the way, election coming up, got to change gears and make it look better. It's like so many times I've seen people run far to the right or far to the left, and then when the general election comes up, that will be for the primary. The general election comes up and say, oh, now I got to run to the middle. It looks phony. It looks phony. And Americans don't like phoniness. They want people who are authentic, I think, in the long run, or at least somewhere close to that. I don't know where this is
I do agree with it. I do agree with it. And that was kind of Trump's superpower for a while, which is you could say whether you liked it or didn't like it, but you knew he wasn't acting. That's who he was.
Right. And now he's saying a lot of stuff each day, and you're not really clear on exactly where he is, depending on the day. It's different things each day. Well, I'm going to bomb tomorrow, and then we get to tomorrow saying, well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And he likes to think that
we won anyway. We won anyway. Yeah.
And he likes to think that maybe he's being coy and so forth. And yet people have kind of figured out the modus operandi here on how he goes about doing business. So, hey, great stuff this morning. Thank you so much, Eugene. Always good talking to you on a Tuesday morning.
You got it, Gary. Hey, be well. Thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you next week, my
Thanks,
friend.
buddy. Have a great rest of the week. Take care. Eugene Pasquale with us here on the Gary Sutton Show as we dissect the politics of our country. It's rather interesting. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Tuesday morning on WOYK. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Hall & Oates leading us back again. This hour being brought to you by Your Computer, your digital bodyguard. You can find them at yourcomputer.net or yourdigitalbodyguard.com. At 2069 Carlisle Road out in the Shiloh area of York, the only place I go for all my computer services, whether it's repair, whether it's a new computer, whether it's getting updated, like I'm going to have to stop by today and drop my computer off there to do that. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Walt Oakham's here this morning to talk about Your Computer and what they can do for you, because every one of us uses a computer in some way, shape, or form every day. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Gary.
Great to have you this morning. So you always have some information for us each week. What do you have to help us today, Walt?
Yeah, you know what? I have to help your audience all month for the month of April. We are giving away free dark web scans. So all you have to do is email us, go to our website at yorkcomputer.net, and just send us a message with your email address, and we'll send you any information that we can find about your dark web, any breached passwords, personal information, things like that. But this is information that the bad guys have, and you should be aware so you know which passwords to change, things like that. And we're doing that for free this month.
And the things that people need to know is you can help small business, you can help residential. You've helped me a lot. But the idea of helping with that dark web stuff for free this month is really big. You do have programs there, and I took part in one and continue to do so, which it's paying dividends because you have me up and running in a short period of time. Data backup and recovery, network security solutions, technical support. But when the antivirus, I've had a virus attack my computer during my show, and the other week I said the most comforting thing was to see you come up right in the middle of all that with a message, send me this information and I can take care of it. It was taken care of in seconds. That's the kind of stuff that I think people really need right now in a time where people are knocking on our digital back door a lot without us knowing it, right?
Yeah, we're here, we're the local support company. You don't have to wait in line or wait on hold in some foreign, help desk service. We're right here in York, and we are here to help you.
When you go to yourdigitalbodyguard.com, by the way, they have all those things listed. You can find out about all of them, what's going on there. But remember also that they can even remote into your homes a lot of time and help you, as they remoted into my computer right here at work and help me get out of that whole situation that day. Right at the end of my show, it was terrible. Bells and whistles going off everywhere. And there was Walt Oakham, the calm amidst the storm with your computer repair. And, you have new computers down there as well. People can stop on down and check those out right there at 2069 Carlisle Road, right?
Yeah, we have laptops, desktops, all-in-ones, even gaming machines.
Ask about the residential plans that they have, also the business plans they have down there that they can help you with, like small business tech support with monitoring, maintenance, and security for computer and online presence. Or they have another one that's active right now called the Active One, and it offers comprehensive support with 24/7 monitoring, maintenance, and security. Or the basic one I have, basic computer support for homes, backup included. And I tell you what, it's only $50 a month, and I think it's well worth the investment. But, Walt, what would you tell people during the course of this week here in terms of trying to stay safe, trying to, watch out with all these scams that are going around and all the various people trying to break in? What would be a rule of thumb you would give them?
Yeah, it's easy. Take advantage of our dark web scan this month. It's free, and we'll send it to you via email. No catches. Just send us your email address and that you're interested in the free dark web scan, and we'll send it over to you.
Stop over and see him at 2069 Carlisle Road, right out there in the Shiloh area of York, 17408. You can call them at 717-739-9675 and set up an appointment. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But when it comes to helping you with things related to your computer, you don't need anybody else than Your Computer Repair. They're efficient, they're happy, they'll meet you with a smile, and they'll meet you with a lot of knowledge as well. And don't forget, you can find them at two different places, yourcomputer.net or yourdigitalbodyguard.com. Your Computer, they're ready to help you today. It's the only place I go. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. Walt, always good having you on this show, and thanks for all you're doing for our community to keep us safe. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. Walt Oakman, all the good people at Your Computer Repair and Your Computer, they're ready to help you today. I've got to stop out and get an update today on my computer. They just reminded me yesterday. So there you go. Just a reminder from them. They're keeping an eye out for me. I love that.
National Handmade Day, National Making the First Move Day. That it's a toughie.
Yeah, guys, if you're trying to do that, or women, sometimes women will make the first move.
Well, and the guys really appreciate that.
They do. It takes all the heat off us.
No Housework Day.
Well, it's every day.
World Health Day. And all week, it's an International Pooper Scooper Week. So if you're out there walking your pets, please pick up. Food holidays.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear squish as you're walking. No. I just don't want to hear that. No.
Thanks.
No place for that.
Thanks a lot. Great
There's a visual there. Yes. That helps.
National Beer Day. So relax and have a beer, maybe. And it's Coffee Cake Day. It's always good time for coffee cake.
Yeah, but get the kind that doesn't fall apart all over you like mine did yesterday. I'm still a little upset about that. You can tell. I can't lay it down. Yeah. No, all of that. Do want to remind you today that I saw. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Did you
Well, I have one thing we could mention. One thing. All right, doctors put the odds of having identical quadruplets at about 1 in 15 million. Do you know there are only 72 documented cases of identical quadruplets ever?
Wow.
Ever.
There it is. Well, thank you for joining our show today. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you keep having a wonderful day today. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to all of you. And we'll be back together again tomorrow morning right here in the main street of York County. It's the Gary Sutton Show, 6 to 9 on WOYK.